Alright, so we're here today to talk about organizing large groups in Arma 3, specifically in Epoch. I'm in the editor today. The server where I have admin powers is down for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, and until the server owner gets on, I won't really know. So we're just going to use the editor because the editor will work for what we're trying to do. So for the sake of this video, I'm on Northwest Airfield. The Chinaris map. It's a real common map everybody knows, and should work good for this purpose. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about is calling targets. Okay, I can't imagine why me or a squad or anybody would be sitting in the middle of the airfield in the open, but for the sake of the example, we're gonna start here. So let's say you and your squad are moving across the airfield, and somebody gets a contact, okay? Let's say there's 4 or 5 guys, and the one guy gets a contact, he's shooting at it, and everyone says, "Where is he? Where is he?" And the person says, "Look at the direction I'm looking. It's the direction I'm looking." Nobody knows who the fuck I is. I, me, we. We don't know who that is. Okay? So, for example, don't say things like I, me, we. If you're trying to point out a hostile target, don't say the one I'm shooting at. If there are 2 or more than 2 people, no one's going to know who you're talking about. Instead, try using directions. Call the target direction in relative position to you or your group. Now, if you are separated from your group, say if you're in the west tree line there, and your group happens to be, I don't know, say based in the hangar. It's a horrible spot to base, but we'll just say you're in the hangar. And you're over here, and you're saying, he's to the east, meaning you're saying that the guy is literally over here, in that area. But they're going to say to the east, and they're going to go, "Oh shoot, he's to the east of the base." And they're going to say, "Sorry, I don't have a shot." Well, in reality, if they came out the front of the base, they might have a shot. But they're going to assume it's to the east. And they may not know that you're in the west tree line. So you got to call things. To say, he's to your north. If you don't know what direction they are, what direction the contact is in relation to the rest of your group, you say, "I don't know." Try using landmarks. He's by ATC, he just entered ATC door. If there's more than one ATC, call it. On a server I was on recently, way up there was a base up there, or an ATC up there, and then an ATC here. And we used to call that one ATC North, and we used to call this one Arma 2 ATC. So we had a name for every building in relative position to our base, so that if we had to call a target, it was easy to do so, and everybody knew. He's on the east side of the airfield at fire station. He is on top of fire station roof, and then they go, "Well, what part of the roof?" You go, "The very top of tower," which would be right there, right up there. And that saves everybody a lot of hassle. Target acquisition becomes more of a reasonable thing to do if you know exactly where he is. Here's an example of how it ought to be said. "I have Mark 1 to the north, top of ATC tower, outer catwalk, opposite side from me." Opposite side from us. That would mean he would be on the outer catwalk, second story, ATC, on the north side. This allows them to know exactly where the target is, so that they can gain cover concealment. They can locate the target for the purpose of neutralizing it, and generally know if they've got their ass hanging out in the wind or not. And here's another example. "Or I see one player running through the woods. He is heading away from redemption. I am on the roof of the hospital. He is running directly to you. If you face me, he will be dead ahead of you." See, giving these kinds of directions as opposed to he's by me, he's the direction I'm looking at. He's over by me, I'm looking at him, I'm shooting at him. Well, if the target is more than, say, 100 meters away, your friends are not going to see the impacts. They're not going to see what direction you're facing. While they're busy trying to figure out where the hell you're looking and facing, you're now dead, and the target is now looking for your buddies. And your buddies are still trying to figure out where the hell you were talking about. And having a clear reading of where hostile threats are located is a big deal. And I've seen groups get neutralized. You know, a 10-man group disorganized go up against a 4-man group organized and lose. And if you guys make that adjustment or make those adjustments, it'll be massively helpful to you. The next thing I want to get into is to have a clear picture of the kind of items you want to store in your base. For example, if you're playing with a large group, and one out of your 5 players like 556, sorry man, stop shitting up the shelves. This is a group effort. And the shelf space does not revolve around one person's personal tastes. You want to stock standard gear, 1 long range, 1 short range, 1 to 3 medium range types. For example, the M107 is an excellent long range weapon. The Lynx does the same job, however it takes up 4 times as much space. Yes, it does have less sway, but it takes up 4 times as much space. It is not a reasonable weapon to keep around. For short-range weapons, MGs, Zephyr, Mark 48, pretty much it. The relative benefits and pros and cons of those 2 weapons are that your Mark 48 can take a silencer. Your Zephyr can't, but your Mark 48 can. However, they use the same ammunition. They both use the same standardized round on most servers. If your server is different, you may want to adjust as necessary. Your medium-range weapons, medium range being 7.62 SCAR, otherwise known as the SCAR H. The ABR. 6.5 MX GLs are good to keep, specifically for the 40 millimeter grenade launcher. Tend to be very handy when you're trying to blow up vehicles, and are more than worth holding on to. But in some cases, you know, holding on to PKMs, 5.56 Stanags, Ruger 22s, pump shotguns, any shotgun besides the automatic 12 gauge. The name of it is escaping me at the moment. Are really not worth it. By standardizing your guys' racks, you're saving yourselves a lot of hassle because it's easy to stock the same ammunition. You want to carry different weapons. You want everybody to be fulfilling a different function, but you just don't want to stock 12 different types of guns. If you stock 12 different types of guns, what you're going to have is a giant clusterfuck, and then result will be that you can never find ammunition for the gun you're trying to carry, or you can never find a gun for the kind of ammunition you have lying around, and it's a big giant pain in the ass. Save yourself the hassle, standardize your group. Makes a massive difference in the end. Organize. I'm going to talk about organizing your shelves. I've seen this all too often, not only in groups I've been a part of, but in groups of bases that I've been raiding. And I know it sounds shitty, but trust me, I've been the sorting guy for a 12-man group in the past. But if you put the sniper ammo and MG ammo on their own shelves, if you don't have food mixed in with your rifles, it's going to save you an incredible amount of time. The hour or 2 you spend here or there doing that will save you untold hours up the road. Basically in 30-second increments where you're running around in circles trying to figure out where the hell the first aid packs are, so that you can get healed, so you can get back on the roof, so that you can kill the target that has your friend pinned down in the middle of a building. And a lot of times it'll save lives and therefore save gear. And your whole team's got to be involved in that process. If they're not, they're going to be bringing crap into the base and throwing it wherever. and it's gonna cost you. It is really gonna cost you. And I really you know, I know that this video is being put up at the moment, or being done at this time specifically for a group of buddies who are struggling with this issue, but I'm not saying this just for their benefit, and I'm certainly not directing it just at them. I can't tell you how many bases I've raided where I've looked in and they're holding on to just utter crap, empty jars, you know, grenade, the grenadier chest rigs, you know, fanny packs and Dan clothing, and you know, stuff you spawn with. I really can't understand why they would do that. It just takes up space. It's stuff you don't need. Don't stock sidearms. Don't hold on to sidearms. I mean, you can, but there's really no point. You know, I always usually carry a sidearm as a player, but I don't stock them in my shelves because the only really great purpose they serve is to take out drones. If you happen to have one that is silenced, it works out well for taking out drones, and really that's about it. And other than that, there's really no other reason. The one exception to that rule is there's a particular type of submachine gun that it takes up a secondary slot but has a full auto. And I can't remember. It's a 9mm of some type. It takes 9mm 30 round mags. It's a really great sidearm. And in that case, I would be a big proponent of saving them and stocking them on the shelves. But otherwise, there's just really not a point. The next thing to move on to is the next big important thing is. For the love of all that is holy, utilize your lock boxes for explosives. Utilize your lock boxes for building materials. Those are the things people are going to want to take from you. They're the first things that people are going to want to take from you. If I go in and I'm base raiding, the number one thing on my list is explosives, followed directly by cinder block and metal. Those things should never be anywhere but in a locked lockbox. Ever. Ever. Because it's like a double whammy, okay? The first issue is, I've now just raided you, or alternatively, you've just been raided. So you've already lost building supplies because your doors got blown off or whatever, or I blew up your plot pole. And that's bad enough. But then, chances are I'm going to add a little bit of extra hurt by blowing up or by taking your building supplies and your explosives. If I am left the opportunity to, I'm not going to leave you building materials to rebuild with. If you leave them in the open for me, I'm not going to leave them there for you. I'm just not. And usually, as is the case, I have need of them anyways, so I'm going to take them with me. As far as explosives go, if you're putting your explosives on shelves, you've now just given me the explosives I need to get the rest of the way into your base. Or, alternatively, you have given me explosives to go do my next base raid. Or, if I'm in a particularly bad mood, or there's something personal going on between you and me and I want to make a statement, I'm going to be using those explosives to blow up all your shelves. And I know that's not very nice, but this is Arma 3, man. This is Epoch. I'm not supposed to be very nice. I'm here to make you suffer. That's what I'm all about. You know, so, you know, for the love of God, please do not put your explosives on shelves. I know it doesn't really play into my best interest to be warning people not to do things, but honestly, you're making it too easy for me sometimes. And that just sort of makes me sad. I like it to be a challenge, and if it's not a challenge, what's the point? So the final thing I want to talk about today is choosing a base location. Now, I'm going to do a more in-depth video on this in the future. But we're just going to talk about, setting up your plot pole room and choosing a place to build. Okay. We've been at this a long time. A lot of people who've played Arma 2, Arma 3 have a crazy amount of hours. I mean, I think I have over 3,000 hours in Arma alone. And, we know where people are going to build. You're not going to hide your base from us. It's not possible. We will find it. So, building out in the middle of the woods, kind of a pointless act of futility, because I'm going to fly the map by grid. And, if I'm flying the map by grid, I'm going to find your base. And if I don't, because it's in a building and it's built discreet, well, I'll find it when I'm out and about in a vehicle. You're not going to hide a base. You're not going to hide a base from an entire server. It's just not possible. Those days are over where Arma is concerned. So the next best thing is to build a base in a smart location. Okay, so we're going to use the firehouse, the hangar, and the ATC as an example. These are all examples of really terrible places to build a base. Okay. This building here can get dropped with a satchel charge, and the stairs have a propensity to kill you. The hangar, for sure, can be dropped with one satchel charge, and when it gets dropped, it blows up all your vehicles inside. The firehouse, probably being the better of the three options, can also be dropped with a satchel charge. And therefore it's not a great place to build, but and also this part of the stairs right here also has a tendency to kill you, so it's just a bad place to build, really. However, for the sake of this example, we are going to use this building because this is the better of the three options, and the reason it's the better of the three options is because it's, say, on par with ATC, except it has more space. And you could actually, in theory, park vehicles in here. And probably isn't terrible as a temporary location, but I wouldn't use it for anything beyond that. So, let's talk about setting up your plot pole room, right? You don't want to put your plot pole up in the tower. And the reason for this is because there's really nowhere to put it. Not where it's going to be safe. These windows can be shot through. I'll demonstrate that now. That's interesting. So, I guess anyways, the point is you can shoot through the... As you can see there. I'm not sure what shot at me or why I'm injured, but I must be injured from the stairs. Anyway, so you don't want to build it up there. Ideally, you want to build it in this corner. You want to layer it with cinder blocks in every direction. Honestly, if at all possible. And I don't know if there's a way to get up there, maybe using stairs or something, but that would be the best place to put it. But in lieu of that, you would want to put it in this corner. You want to block it in with cinder blocks and cinder block garage doors. You want to layer it so there's at least two. That way they can't shoot the plot pole through the crack. And you also want to make it impossible for them to third person through the wall. And I'm going to show you how that's done right now. I'm not personally a cheater, but I spent time as an admin, and knowing how the cheaters do it is helpful. So what they often do is the back bend, like this, right? And then they double tap Alt, allows them to turn their head around, and they can see inside the base. So, if you only do an L-shaped in this corner to block in the plot pole, they now see exactly where the plot pole is located, so they know how to get to it. You got to protect against that. You really do. It's a big deal. Secondly, layer your airlocks. Airlock here. Airlock here. Airlock here. You want to put a wall here, and another airlock here. And then you want to continue doing that so where there's multiple airlocks, and when everything's said and done, you're only going to have maybe 1, maybe 2 parking spaces total. And that's fine. Don't be greedy. You don't want to. You don't want to have 5 vehicles get raided and lose everything. And also I would suggest layering every single last wall in here with cinder block walls. That way, if the building is brought down, they don't have instant access to all of your shelves. Personally, I would never build in a firehouse, but for the sake of that example, that should help. Layers of airlock. The more airlocks, the better. Like I said, I'll go into this in more detail in a later video, but I just kind of want to help people have more of their creative juices flowing and get kind of a better idea of how they would want to set up so that they can do it without, losing out, I guess. Anyway, that's it for today.